Welcome to the Elements for Life podcast, and today we're talking about strength for life. And I'm here with Sab. Hey Sab, what
Hello.
does strength actually mean?
What does strength actually mean?
Mhm.
Well, how philosophical do you want to get? Look, strength is in some ways invisible, and strength is something that's only really understood by the individual because it can mean a whole heap of different things, and we can be strong in different areas. So obviously you've got mental strength, physical strength, those type of things, endurance. Are they all related in some way? So for me, strength is about conditioning, maintaining strength, being functional, being able to interact with the world at the level that you want. Just being able to walk is a form of strength. We take that for granted in a lot of ways. So functional strength is that thing where you're at a level where you can move the way you want to move and interact with life in the way that you want to interact and make decisions and choices and say yes to things more than saying no. So what's your experience with strength?
My experience with strength is a bit all over the place. I would look at videos online and refer to that, or sometimes even look at workouts on my phone app, and that would be my best reference. I don't know any better than what I am already seeing. So sometimes it can be a bit confusing. I feel like I'm doing all these workouts with no clear direction of what I want to achieve in terms of my fitness. So that can be a problem for me sometimes personally.
Yep. Well, there's different elements of fitness. So you've got cardiovascular performance, you've got obviously endurance, and then you've got agility, and there's skill, and then there's strength. They're all interrelated and connected. Strength in the sense of performance, for me, is a combination between endurance and power and output, and the efficiency of your muscles being able to execute the skill or the thing that you want to do. So when we talk about lifting deadlifts and things, that you're executing skill, and the body needs to be able to work together, all the muscle lines work together in a way where you can execute that skill safely. And that's a form of interconnected endurance, power, and efficiency, which we call strength. And we can measure it, something that we can define by a number. So you couldn't lift something last week, and then you can lift it this week. You would argue that there was a gain in that particular short period of time in what we call strength. And then there's mental strength and things like that. How do you define mental strength? I think mental strength is you being able to put yourself into an uncomfortable position more often. So whether that's another form of conditioning. So it's like being in business. Business requires a lot of strength. It's a mental strength. It's an environmental strength because you're putting yourself into an uncomfortable environment over and over and over and over and over until you become quite good at it. And it's no different to lifting or being able to be functional in life. So that's what I would call strength. I mean, do you know what functional training means?
I know that functional training is meant to address different areas of fitness. It helps with mobility, it helps with strength, it helps with endurance. So I know that it is a holistic kind of program. But maybe for people like me or people that are starting out, we might not always know what the best program is. What is your advice for someone like me or anyone that's starting out and trying to figure out what program is actually the right one for them?
Well, you're correct in the sense of what functional is. There are elements of fitness. Functional for me is being able to be and optimize your natural movement patterns. So we talk about functional movement patterns or primal movement patterns. So there's 7 of them. There's squat, lunge, push, pull, twist, and bend or hinge. The other one would be what we call gait. In the gym, gait, G-A-I-T, generally refers to cardio equipment. So your cardiovascular, anaerobic, aerobic performance. And again, it's interrelated. So functional movement for me is being able to optimize the movement patterns and then connect that with the elements of fitness. So agility, endurance, cardiovascular performance. And then there's obviously mindset and things. So they all sort of interconnect. I said functional in the sense of what we talk about in the industry is you being able to go outside, live your life and be at your best. So you're at your most functional in all the ranges of movement, up, down, back and forth, and being able to do it with freedom of movement. So mobility, Some people think mobility is flexibility. They're sort of connected, but mobility to me, I would summarize that as being able to make the choice of the movement that you would like without hindrance. So if you want to bend over and pick up your keys because you dropped them, you being able to do that freely, I would call that freedom of mobility. So if you want to be able to climb a mountain, your friends have invited you to come climb a mountain, and you say yes because you feel that you're capable, I would say that that is freedom of mobility. But again, it comes back to being able to be functional and the elements of fitness. Can you follow through with that task in regards to endurance and cardiovascular performance and conditioning? Some people dread the idea of climbing a mountain because they don't want to be embarrassed that they can only get halfway. So mobility and functional training should be unlocking your capacity to interact with the world. Say yes more than say no. Yeah. So have you done functional training before?
I've tried it, yes.
You've tried it? I mean, you're in my gym. I imagine that you've tried it. So you're from the Philippines, Joe?
I am.
So what do they do in the Philippines?
We do.
Is it a thing over there?
It is a thing. There are programs out there that would do functional training, structured training in groups, or even private sessions. People back home would also do running, pickleball, tennis, everything. It's all there. That's why I think for anyone that's just starting out their fitness or even in the middle of their fitness journey, there's so much options up there. You can do anything and everything, and people can get creative in what kind of workouts or what sport they can get into.
We've got to remember we're all human. So, and that's functional training is based on human movement. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, like we're all capable of functional training. It's just a matter of being probably put into an environment where you've got some structure. So you talked about what type of programming do you need to be doing? I'd always base it off the functional movement patterns. So squat, lunge, push, pull, twist and bending, and then mixing in with your cardiovascular. If you ticked those 7 off every time you came in the gym, so you did some squats, did some lunges, and you can do variations, right? There's lots of different toys and skills of variations of a skill. But if you came in and did a set or a couple of sets of those 7 and you walked out, you've actually ticked the box. You've done a full body workout because you can't do any more than that apart from your recovery and nutrition. But in regards to actual performance, I would focus on the 7 problem movement patterns. Now, some people talk about split training. So if you're coming into the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, you don't want to be just doing deadlifts every day or back squats. So what people do is they tend to break it up and they split it up. So they split it up maybe into upper body, lower body, front and back. Maybe they'll have a cardio-centric day. Maybe they'll do some of their core lifting days. And their program is based on splitting up those different aspects of training to fit in with their 5 days. And it gives a bit of a spread. So if you're actually time poor, we talked about that earlier, and you've only got a certain amount of time, I would probably focus on the 7 problem movement patterns and try to get at least 1 or 2 sets out of all of those, especially if you can't get into the gym that often. 1 or 2 times a week, you probably need to do a bit more full body and obviously build from there. And again, I was asked another question about what do you do if you've only got 30 minutes of training? I always say do what you want to do. You know, as coaches, we always try to encourage people to do strength training, resistance training. But I think it comes down to, again, habits and routines and people being able to adapt good behaviour into their training. And that really only comes from doing what they enjoy. If you don't really enjoy doing it, but discomfort's where we grow. So you've got to grind a bit. And that's where functional training is great because we've got the sleds out today and heavy kettlebells, and workouts aren't always glamorous. You've got to sweat and you've got to put in a bit of effort. So again, functional training is probably the basis of anyone's routine in regards to understanding. And I don't think it's really taught as well as it could be. We've heard functional training gets thrown around, but people don't really talk about the primal movement patterns. So I'd start there.